Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, November the 25th, 2025. It's 9 a.m. and we're in the central jury room of the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. We're pleased to have with us today a good standing member of the community, Mr. Richard Hayes, that's going to give us the invocation.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that you bless us with this wonderful community filled with people who care for each other and who strive to do what's in your will. Father, we pray your wisdom upon our elected officials, that you will guide them and show them the path that is best for everyone. Father, we pray for those in attendance here, that their hearts will be open to hearing the discussion and participating as part of our community. And Lord, we thank you that noise stopped. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
There may be a message there.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I pledge the great state of Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, we got first of all, a special announcement here, I guess we have today, is that the Hood County Employee Appreciation Holiday Luncheon scheduled for Wednesday, December the 10th, 2025 from 11:30 to 1 p.m. at Triple Cross Cowboy Church. Food and prizes for the event will be donated. And so, Kevin Andrews, we're going to give you a polygraph test if you collect all this money from all these officials.
I give the receipts out when I get it, so.
I'm going to give you your first one. I'm going to donate $150 to get this started for all the turkeys and stuff. And if you need more, let us know. But I think there's a bunch of specials going on. You can get a turkey, a ham, and a new car if you go to HEB or something when you buy one here today. So here you go, Kevin. Now, receipt now, okay?
I got it. I'm working on it right now.
Okay. Now we have some service awards. This is going to be special this year because I messed up 5 years ago. But Ms. Welborn, we have, first of all, James Cato Yates, 5 years. Todd Tuggle, he must be in Rhoda.
You bet. James came to us in 2020. He is an equipment operator too. Does us a great job. Road Office is very fortunate to have him, and thank you for everything you do. So. Appreciate it.
Okay, this next person, I want you to know, 5 years ago, it was Elizabeth Stanley, and I'm up here and I said, Elizabeth Stanley? Who's Elizabeth Stanley? She's my administrative assistant, but her name is Beth Stanley. So Beth Stanley, 10 years. And she brought her entourage here for us today. I want everybody, y'all come on up here. This is Brenda Lambert, who's our administrative assistant. And this is Beth's two granddaughters that she's very proud of. This is Bella and Abigail, also known as Abby. They were both honor students and both on scholarships and are doing perfectly. So these are three fine women here.
Four.
Oh, well, excuse me.
All right. And let me get one, this phone. So, let's see, I hit the red button on it. Okay.
Tell Sam we appreciate front page. The next is Jonathan Berry, 15 years. God. It seems like only 50, doesn't it, Jonathan? Sheriff, this is your right-hand man up here. You got two of them back there.
Yep. Jonathan has been on my command staff for quite a while now, Captain Barry, and he takes care of lots and lots of stuff so I can deal with lots of other stuff. So congratulations on 15 years. Appreciate that.
Okay. Next is Lisa Samford, 15 years.
Lisa works back in the jail. She's a licensed jailer, and she does a lot of paperwork back there, keeps everything running smooth, and we couldn't make it without her. So congratulations. Thank you for all you do.
You. Next is Angelia Jones.
She's working.
She's
She-
working?
Correct. She was unable to attend this morning.
Well, she's been working for 25 years, so I guess she just got in the habit.
I don't think she likes crowds, but yes, we're very proud of her for 25 years. She's been through a lot in the jail, and she had cancer a number of years ago, but she keeps on going. So very proud of her.
Good, good. That's great. Seven, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got seven at the open mic today, and I've been asked to, a little controversy has been kind of going on here in Hood County, and I just want to remind everybody that it is the intention of the Commissioners Court here to let everybody speak out here and voice their opinions here in Commissioners Court. But I want to remind you that we do have some rules of decorum, and that with anybody speaking up here, they have to conduct themselves in a proper respect and decorum in speaking to or addressing the court and in participating in public discussions. And that it is not the intention of this court to provide a public forum for the demeaning of any individual or group. Neither is it the intention of the court to allow a member or members of the public to insult the honesty and or integrity of the court as a body, or any member or members of the court individually or collectively. Accordingly, profane, insulting, or threatening language directed towards the court and or any person in the court's presence, and any racial, ethnic, gender slurs, or epithets will not be tolerated. Now, these rules do not prohibit public criticism of the Commissioners Court, including criticism of any act, omission, policy, or procedure. Violation of these rules may result in any of the following restrictions: cancellation of the speaker's remaining time, removal from the Commissioners Court, contempt, citation, and such other civil criminal sanctions as authorized under the Constitution, statutes, and codes of the state. I just want to remind everybody of this. Let's keep it civil. Let's try to treat everybody with respect and have a proper discourse. And I want to tell everybody that in accordance with our new rules, that items 5 and 12 have been pulled from the agenda. So if anybody was wanting to speak on items 5 and 12, they have been pulled. So you don't, if that's all you wanted to speak, you may leave at this time unless you want to stick around. So if you want to stick around, we'd love to have you, but if you wanted to speak, those two items have been pulled. And the first speaker on open mic is Matt Long. Yes, sir.
Matt Long, 9506 Bell Chase Road in Pecan Plantation, Precinct 2. Thank you, Nanette, for being my representative on this court. Since it's close to Thanksgiving, I want to talk a little about what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful to be able to address my public officials while it's still legal. I'm thankful to be able to stand here in real life before the robots take over and we're only allowed to travel around in the metaverse. And I am thankful for the people that I've witnessed over the last few months come up here and give reason after reason why we should not support the ravaging of our landscape just because big tech comes in and says they like what they see. They like the parameters of our land. Hood County fits into their formula. I share all the concerns from the people I've heard before me. I share the concerns of the people that were in my living room 2 nights ago. But my main concern is the spiritual implication of forsaking our land and our sovereignty in the name of technology. Do we understand that people are using AI right now? People are using ChatGPT, and they're doing this without any new data centers in Hood County. That's not what these data centers are going to be used for. The number of data centers and the amount of computing power that's currently being deployed across the United States is so astronomical that the only explanation is that they're preparing for a fundamental evolution in the way that our lives are governed and monitored. We've seen Palantir working with our Department of Defense, our Department of Homeland Security, and they've begun collecting vast amounts of personal data into a single database to identify patterns using AI on Americans. So if we think that the answer is more control and not less, more tracking, not less, if we think the answer to our security problems is delivering more of our personal information to be stored for infinity, then by all means, let's rip up the trees, let's drain the rivers, let's disturb the ecosystems, because robots don't need that kind of stuff. Because that's what we're becoming. We're becoming robots, doers, not thinkers, operating only in the present, only in the flesh, not thinking about the future, not thinking about our children, and certainly not considering the spirit. In Romans 1, it says that we can get to know the Creator through the things that were made, through the creation. And according to John 1, Hebrews 1, and Colossians 1, Jesus is the creator of all things. So if we can get to know the Savior Creator through the creation, then of course, there's going to be an evil agenda to dilute, to corrupt, and destroy what that creation is. So I've got a few questions. Do we think that taking thousands of acres of land and turning them into AI data hubs is moving Hood County closer to the original creation or further away? Do we think that negotiating tax breaks with Google, Meta, and Amazon is closer to making a covenant with God or making a deal with the devil? And do we think that developing enough digital storage space to track our every movement and every purchase is bringing us closer to Genesis, or is it bringing us closer to Revelation? Ladies and gentlemen, our water, our air, our land, our way of life, and our children's health are being threatened by an outside force. We don't need a law on the books to stand against that. We just say no, not in Hood County. Fortunately, we do have something, and we do not have to start a revolution thanks to Subchapter K. Subchapter K is, in fact, an obvious, appropriate, and applicable way to regulate these facilities out of feasibility. This is not an interpretation. This is a fact based on a simple reading. It is a literal tool of divine providence that we have at our disposal for such a time as this. And if the commissioners and representatives of Hood County will not step up in the face of oppression, in the face of a corporate invasion, then I believe the men of Hood County will be forced to. Thank you.
This is a good segue right now to tell y'all that at 9:20, we're going to take a video conference of Blake Latham Fernandez, who is the person that the Commissioner Court has hired to represent Hood County in the negotiations with the data centers and to do the research and implementation of Subchapter K to help us with the enforcement of just what you spoke. So we're going to take another speaker who happens to be your wife, and she has the most interesting place of employment I've ever had since I've been up here for 7 years. Place of employment, mother of 9. 9? Mike, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jessica Long, and I live at 9506 Belchase Road. I am married to Matthew Long, who just spoke. I'm a homeschool mother to 9 children, and we live directly on the Brazos River in Pecan Plantation. When we moved here, I thought we had found our perfect slice of heaven. My children play in the Brazos River every day, and we spend countless hours in our backyard enjoying the quiet beauty Texas has to offer. My husband and I have poured our savings into our property as we had plans on living here for many years. Supporting a family of 11 in this economy is no easy feat, but we were comforted knowing we were upping our home value as well as turning our property into a perfect haven for our young children to spend their childhood in. But since the leaves have fallen on our property this month, we now hear the Wolf Hollow Bitcoin mine throughout the day, even through closed windows, and it has taken away the beautiful nature sounds of our yard. While we sit and play outside, we are accompanied with a loud humming sound, which is disheartening and unnatural. So you can understand my complete and total horror of finding out about the Pacifico power plant and Fort Spunky data center planned to go in directly across the river from our house. I can't put into words how sickened I am about this. You don't have to research for long to see that these centers have immense negative effects on their surroundings. Our home value will undoubtedly drop as we will be so close to this monstrosity. And if we thought the noise from Wolf Hollow was bad right now, this will be so much worse. We heard from Mitchell Bend residents 2 days ago who stated how the low frequency sounds emitted will affect our health immensely, from seizures, troubled sleep, bone density issues, to many other health problems, not to mention the toxicity that will leach into the Brazos River that my children play in daily. I'm also very concerned about our air quality if these power plants and data centers are built, and of course their unrelenting noise. As someone who has fled Canada to find safety and justice in rural Texas, I'm saddened that this is even a fight I must engage in. As a Canadian, I am well accustomed to corruption inflicted upon the common man, and I had hoped I had escaped that. But alas, here I am having to fight even harder for my family's finances, physical well-being, and home. It is truly beyond my comprehension that our lives could be turned upside down by these power plants and data centers without even a discussion regarding compensation for our loss. If the Pacifico power plant and its accompanying data centers are built, it will be imperative for us to pack up and leave for our children's health. But how will we be able to do that if we won't even be able to sell our home for its fair value? Think of the bind this is putting us and many of others in. Mitchell Bend residents' home values have tanked. This is a fact. And as a Christian, I cannot, in good conscience, sell our home to an unsuspecting family right now, knowing what is planned to come across the river from us. I implore you, commissioners, to find a way to use subsection K to our advantage in shutting these power plants and data centers down. Hood County does not need their tantalizing tax dollars. What could that money possibly do for us while the centers drive us from our homes and rob us of our health? Please join with me in fighting to keep AI data centers and power plants out of Hood County. There are so many other industries we can attract here that are less harmful. I want to keep Hood County clean and pristine. I want to keep my home value fair. I want to keep my nature surroundings just that. I want to keep the historic Brazos River free from toxicity. But above all else, I want to keep my children safe from physical harm. Their names are Landon, Seth, June, Lily, Winslet, Boaz, Prairie, Lowen, and our youngest son was born 2 months ago, and his name is Judge Brazos. We named him that before we knew anything about the issue. I take comfort from this passage in the Bible. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from their troubles. Psalm 34. I truly believe our family will be delivered from these data center horrors one way or the other. But I don't want to be delivered by fleeing from our home. I want to be delivered by having chosen the right county to live in with the right commissioners who fought for their residents. I appreciate all the hard work you put into your work and trust you will take this issue incredibly seriously. Thank you so much for listening.
We're trying to connect with Blake Latham Fernandez, who is the attorney that on a video conference so that y'all can all see her in the flesh. She is a partner with the Bracewell firm, which is an international law firm with offices in the major Texas states, but also in New York, Washington, D.C., London, Paris, Dubai. She has experience in this type of law in that she's represented counties and cities when the Eagle Ford Shale was developing in those counties down south. So I said we're going to talk to her at 9:20. That's where she's standing by. She's been retained by this committee to help with the negotiations with these data centers. When they come in, they have very powerful law firms, and she is with a very powerful law firm. She's a specialist in this area, but she's also going to help us with developing the law surrounding Subchapter K. There was a commission that was set up in 1999 when that legislation was first passed, but it's been suspended because it was aimed primarily at that time with residential people residential homes that was going up around here. Of course, now we got this industrial deal. So we're revising the Economic Development Commission. We will be working with Mr. Clint Head in the development, and all of you that had filled out applications to be thought we were going to go with the Economic Council, but we only needed one commission, the commission that was already in existence. And in doing the initial research that Ms. Fernandez did, we thought it would be better to have a commission that was already set up and intended by the legislature to help keep Hood County the way that it was intended to keep, in line with what you have just said, mother of 9. So, have you been able to get her?
Yeah, Judge, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Blake?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Are we
Great.
now on agenda item 4, and then we're going to
Yeah.
come back to public comments at large?
That's right. This is like I told y'all. We're going to come back. We still got some more agenda items, but we are paying Ms. Fernandez by the hour, and we have set this up so that I want all of y'all to see her, meet her, and would you just kind of go over your PowerPoint that you sent to all of us yesterday? Blake, and
Yes.
tell us what,
Yes, sir. If I
what-
share my screen, are folks able to see that?
Let's try.
Is there a screen in the room?
Yes.
All right, can y'all see that? I've shared the PowerPoint. Is everyone able to see that?
I'll just go.
like, there it is.
All right, looks like there's some folks straining. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm not sure I can make that any bigger. No, I've gone someplace else. I've outsmarted myself. Give me 1 second. Well, all right. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to, I don't think I can make it any larger than this. But thank you, Judge. I'm Blakely Fernandez. I'm in the San Antonio office of Bracewell, and my practice really deals primarily with public finance and economic development. And I represent a variety of clients in this space. So I often represent government entities as they're negotiating economic development agreements, setting up economic development policies, and sometimes I represent the private sector in economic development projects. And so I've got sort of the perspective and the knowledge base of looking at these projects from both sides. So in reviewing Subchapter K and the existing development permit regulations, I put this comparison here so you can see sort of side by side the development permit regulations that the county has adopted do a nice job of mirroring Subchapter K. And for example, we've got the creation of a development commission. Article 3 of your existing regulations creates that commission. Having a county plan for growth and development, the development permit regulations reference a county strategic plan. It appears that plan needs to be updated, but there is a plan already on the books and there's a process for updating that. And then the creation of land use districts is provided for in Subchapter K, and the county has already undertaken that as well. So you've got water quality districts, road districts, and a rural district that runs throughout the unincorporated area. So this is a really good start to the kind of comments and concerns I know the county has been wanting to address. So because you've got those pieces in place already, my recommendation to the court is to terminate the call for applications to serve on an economic development council and to reinstate the development commission. This way you don't have to have a two-tier process. We can move a little bit more expeditiously. The development commission is tasked under your existing regulations with being the entity that makes recommendations to the court to make amendments to those policies. And so the fact that you've already got the structure there and the next steps aligned with, I think, what the intentions are, I think this will save us some time. The Development Commission is structured by statute to be 5 members. So the description here of the commission, this is a combination of what's in your regulations and what's in state law. Under the regulations, each member must be a resident of Hood County. State law requires that the chair is a public official of Hood County. The terms are 2 years, and the members are assigned places. So kind of like school districts sometimes operate. You've got places 1 through 5 for these commissioners. Place 1 would represent precinct 1, and so forth. Place 2 represents precinct 2. And then their terms are staggered. So you'll see that the odd numbered places are going to be appointed in odd numbered years, the even numbered places in even numbered years. And then the chairman takes place 5. All of the commissioners are appointed by a majority vote of the court. So the Development Commission powers and duties under your regulations are pretty broad. And I think that some of this, it seems like may have been part of the decision to suspend the commission years ago. It was inserted, I think, running at a parallel track with your development director. And so the commission was making recommendations to the court, was reviewing plans and operating very much like a city planning commission. I think there's some benefit to that, but there are also some time constraints under state law that make that interim step maybe difficult to operate in a practical way. And so one of the tasks of this commission in making their recommendations, I think, would be to align their overall powers and duties better with the framework that state law anticipates. But if you look at their first 2 items under their powers and duties, the first one is to make recommendations to the court concerning the modification and implementation of the county's strategic plan, and concerning the adoption, modification, and implementation of any other comprehensive plan elements and supporting studies. And then the second one is to make recommendations regarding the development permit regulations. So those are 2 really good places to start. Once you've got an updated strategic plan for the county, that may involve some updates to the land use districts that are in place. Then we look at what those goals are that are set out in the strategic planning document, and then we can make adjustments to the regulations accordingly. So right now, the structure that's laid out in your regulations is that no development permit application would be accepted for filing or be reviewed until a concept plan had been reviewed. So every development would require a concept plan. And then the concept plan is followed up by either a subdivision plat, if that's appropriate, an infrastructure development plan, or a site development plan. So you've got tools in place already to manage what's happening in the development within the county. It's just, I think, focusing more on the change in the kinds of development that you're facing now. Much of this was designed really with dense residential as the forefront. And now you're looking at something that's more industrial focused. This is a really tough map to read. It looks like a copy of a copy, but these are the land use districts. And so where you can see the beige highlights around the roads, those are the road corridor districts. It's within a half mile of all arterial roads in the county. And then the secondary water quality district boundary, there's some language in the map that doesn't follow the regulations exactly, but in the red, these are the secondary water quality district boundaries. That's within 1 mile of the Brazos River. And then the primary water quality district boundary is within a half mile of the major creeks. Those are listed down below. And then the rest of the county's unincorporated area is considered a rural district. So the recommendations that I would have for the commission once it's appointed is to review the county's strategic plan for growth and development, consider revisions to update that plan. There's some reference to a county open space and parks plan. I'm not sure if that's in place, but if it's not, I would recommend that that be included as part of that strategic plan. And then regulations are required to be adopted and amended in accordance with this plan. So the plan is really instructive as to all of the steps that follow. And then propose amendments to the plan back to the court, with the next step being to review the regulations to ensure that the plan's addressed and ensure compliance with current law, There are some places where we see that subchapter K could be in conflict with some of the other county permitting authorities. And so where we see that there are inconsistencies, we should make the effort to determine what the controlling law is and then propose amendments to the court for the regulations. And I think for the commission to be effective and to work expeditiously, they're going to need the necessary tools in place. You've got a development department that's already knowledgeable about all of these regulations, so that's the best resource. But they're going to need some engineering and legal advice as well moving forward. So a civil engineering firm that could help make sure that regulations that are laid out are precise and enforceable, and also are the right ones, that the boundaries of those are laid out to be something that can be implemented and enforced. And that's it. Those are the next steps that I recommend.
And in lines or what you talked about, Mr. Long, at subchapter K, what we're going to have Ms. Fernandez do is to try to take that and make that, do a brief on that law, look at the legislative intent when it was passed back then as far as protected Hood County. In particular, that special legislation involved for Hood County, and to write a brief to show what was the intent to help with the Attorney General and present it to the Attorney General in the hope that we can get him on our side and take in our view. Can you expound upon that, Ms. Fernandez?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so subchapter K could be interpreted very broadly. And like I said, there are some other county permitting chapters, specifically 232, 233, and 245, that would be much more constrained. And we think of counties as creatures of the state, and they only have the authority that the state grants them. So they don't have the same kind of broad autonomy that a home rule city has. But Chapter 231 and Subchapter K, is state authority for you to do more things than ordinary counties can do. The other provisions under 231, for folks who've looked at that, all very specifically authorize county zoning. So you weren't given zoning language, but you were given strong regulatory language. And so determining how those pieces fit together and which one governs, I think, is going to be important. Especially, I know that the county's development department has raised some issues about some of the timing requirements, and how having additional layers of regulation in subchapter K could conflict with those timing requirements. So just to make sure that we are operating under the law and that you're protected as you move forward in a way that's just, it's going to be an issue of first impression for the rest of the state. Trying to take a more, a stronger stance on regulations. And so we want to make sure that you're also protected, that we're making wise choices and that those choices are enforceable.
This has given us the best shot at doing what we want to do is protect the county. I really do. It's really a balancing. These data centers, if they're doing it in a certain area, as long as it's legal and meet the state requirements, the county cannot really pass any laws like a city can pass ordinances. And that's why we have Ms. Fernandez here, who's a specialist in this, is to use what we do have and to really, would be a case of first impression. But I think she's an expert in this area and has experience in working, like I said, with the Eagle Ford Shale and working with the AG's office on this and helping us to give us as much protection as we possibly can. So that's our deal. You want to, any commissioner want to ask Ms. Fernandez anything?
I was just going to ask if we're on agenda item 4, do we have any speakers signed up for agenda item 4? Or are we going to, how are we
Well,
going
I'm not going to, you know, Ms. Fernandez is, when she's negotiating with the data centers for us and helping us in that area, she's going to make the developers or require the developers to put up money so that they're really paying for her attorney's fees. That's been done before, and that's what she's going to do and helping us. But in this area right now, what we got to do is to get the commission set up first. So those of you who apply for the Economic Council, we're going to ask you, in accordance with her research, we're going to do it, apply for the Development Commission, which is the 2-year terms, the 5 members, and working with Ms. Fernandez and with Clint Head in this. But we're not going to sit here and let Ms. Fernandez answer questions for the community. What she's going to do is to do what she does best, and that is prepare us a legal brief and do the legal fighting for us. So I think that at this time, we're going to let Ms. Fernandez go back to work on her behalf doing this, and we will continue letting people that signed up an open mic or whatever, and then when we get to 4, if they want to speak anymore, to go ahead and speak. But she's not here to just answer questions to public at large or anybody. I don't think she's had enough time yet to really get into it. That is not the best use of her expertise and her time.
Just to be clear, the folks that applied for the Development Advisory Board, that is being replaced by what's already in existence, which is the Development Commission. So, and the requirements are very specific in the law, that it's a 2-year term. It has to, you have to, it's a public committee, so it has to go by open public meetings. So agendas need to be posted, minutes need to be taken, all of the things that are required for a public commission. So keep that in mind when you, we would love for everyone who previously applied to apply, but also one caveat is the law says that you have to live in Hood County. Okay, fine. I'm just, if we're off of agenda item 4, I just want to be sure and let everyone know what's going on.
Ms. Fernandez, you have been very helpful to us today. Thank you. We look forward to working with you. Do you feel like you have anything else you'd like to add before you sign off?
No, I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and I'll wait to hear how your commission comes along.
Okay, good deal. That's what we'll inform you of next.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fernandez. Thank you, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
So as I was saying, just keep that in mind, that you need to be a resident of Hood County and what the commitment is. And we will have that posted by the end of the day today, and so we'll take applications through what you guys recommend.
This Economic Commission is it's a different deal. It's a commitment. It's a 2-year commitment. But we had some speakers at the workshop that really took it seriously. We had some really good members, and there were some people that really felt strongly about it. I think would make good members. So we're not doing an Economic Council. We're doing a commission that's already been set up. It was just suspended. We're now taking it active. The requirements will be posted. Hopefully everybody that's interested will make application, and we'll get the commission in place, and then the commission, as she stated and pointed out, make recommendations to the Commissioners Court. And the commission will work with Clint Head. Clint Head is still doing the permits, and tell you one thing, Clint Head knows more about development and about chapter 231, 232, and subchapter K than probably anybody next to Ms. Fernandez, but they make a good team. They've already been talking. So this this is in place. But like in any lawsuit, you got to start. So the first thing we got to do with the public here is develop the Development Commission. So that's why I hope that in 2 weeks with the next Commission's Court, people will have turned in their applications to be on the Development Commission at that time.
So with that, I'll make a motion to request our court administrator to post the Development Commission applications to be accepted through December 5th at noon.
Second. All those,
This is agenda item 4, right?
Right.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, let's go back now and take up, we're still in the open forum now, and let's go back to speaker number 3, who is Patrick Clayton.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Patrick Clayton. I live at 10410 Ravenswood Road, Pecan Plantation. Like the Longs, I live on the Brazos River, and it's a big part of my family's life. I like everything that I heard from Ms. Fernandez, but sounds like it's going to take time, and that's something that we don't have. We're being attacked from every angle right now. We don't have time. I'm going to read verbatim the purpose of subchapter K. Number 1, promote the public health, safety, peace, morals, and general welfare. Number 2, encourage recreation. Number 3, safeguarding and preventing the pollution of the state's rivers and lakes. Does this sound like an accurate description of what has happened on Mitchell Bend over the last 5 years? Last night I sat on my porch putting these words together, listening to the hum of the Marathon Data Center that's more than 4 miles away from my home. The state and county has failed the people of Mitchell Bend. My heart hurts for them, and I hope justice will be served one day. Are we going to allow that to happen again here in Hood County? More than 25 years ago, the state granted this court the authority to utilize subchapter K. 25 years. We can't wait one day longer. These industries are moving fast. For subchapter K, a development commission is optional, not mandatory. Now, there's some changes here just before I spoke, but it doesn't take a commission to know that these projects are a threat to Hood County. These threats are coming from every angle. We, your constituents, are out here fighting battles against these companies on our own. Neighbors meeting in living rooms, taking time away from their families and work to protect and preserve this county, your county. I wish I could go back 25 years and implement subchapter K the way that it was intended, but that's not possible. However, we can start right here today. The organization of the Development Commission is a step in the right direction, and then this new phase that we learned about this morning, I think, again, I think is a step in the right direction. I'm here to ask this court to take immediate action regarding industrial development projects in Hood County. Not the Development Commission, but you, Judge and Commissioners. We hired the lawyers. It's time to start playing offense. It is your responsibility that these projects meet the requirements of subchapter K. That is the law. If you're not up for the fight, your constituents will find somebody that is. The longer we wait, the harder it becomes. You must protect the people of this county and prevent another situation like Mitchell Bend. The world continues to develop rapidly. Energy use is predicted to climb for many years. That is not up for debate. What I want to make clear, I am not against power plants. Heck, I'm not even against data centers. But I am firmly against companies destroying our county, our way of life, and our property values. We are against noise and light pollution. We are against irresponsible use of our natural resources. These developments can be completed with minimal impact to the people and environment around them. The technology is there, but these companies don't want to spend the money. Are we willing to accept that and jeopardize our community? I'm not. I have two nieces, 10 and 11 years old. They mean a lot to me. They live in Arlington, Texas, and every time they come out to Hood County and they look up and see those stars, they are amazed. These are the things that we lose with these industrial projects continue to happen unchecked, emitting noise and light pollution. How many more Mitchell Bends is it going to take before we start protecting ourselves? Pacifico is proposing to build a power plant
The next speaker is Faye Landa. Pull it closer down, Faye. You always say that you can't hear anybody else now. You speak up.
You that know me know that at every election, for many years that I have lived in Granbury, I stand on that annex parking lot holding a sign for candidates I support. You also know that voting sometimes begins early each day before daylight and ends sometimes after dark. For several years, I have complained about the pole light on the parking lot. This year, I complained to Leland Larson, who's sitting right over there, and within days, it was repaired. For many, many years, we've not had light on the parking lot, and it just took him about a week to get this done. I want to publicly thank Leland and his crews for looking forward to the upcoming election, where I'll be enjoying the lighted parking lot again and holding a sign there. Also, the flag in the front of the building has not had a light on it for many, many years, and so that's my next project, Leland, to get a light on the flag.
Be light. Next speaker is Don Johnson. He has a hard time getting reservations at a restaurant. Every time he calls up there, says, "Feed John Johnson." No. All right, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. Can you hear that okay? I know you can.
Yeah.
I'll talk loud. Colton Cottinger. Colton Cottinger was arrested the day after the election. By noon the next morning. He worked 2 weeks at the election, working at the polling stations outside, supporting candidates. He was arrested by 2 sheriff's deputies on the morning of the 5th, handcuffed and taken to the jail for 7 days, for 7 hours. His charge was posting a political meme on the internet. I had a lot to say this morning, but I listened carefully to the judge's initial announcement. I was critical of the Sheriff's Department, J.P. Sissy Chrisman, and the district attorney for their actions on this particular thing. I could give you a ton of details, but I don't think the judge will let me because I'm criticizing 3 of your employees. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Jessica Hall.
First, I want to thank my Commissioner, Nanette Samuelson, for all your work and listening to our community. I also want to thank Dave Eagle for your efforts in transparency and bringing some things to our attention to the agenda. So I appreciate both of you. I'm also here, you've heard from me a lot, so I'm really here in support of the other speakers that have come up and spoken about the issue of Pacifico coming in, you know, adjacent to the solar farm, right across the river, again, from our house, from our families. So tax dollars are great, but if we create another Cancer Alley like they have in Louisiana, or you end up poisoning the water like in Hinkley with PG&E, which is a disaster, no amount of tax dollars can help the county recover from that type of devastation. Once you've damaged someone's health or well-being, you can't replace that with money. It does not come back. We have hundreds of families with children living across from the Pacifico location. They will be on the front lines of any disaster, and they will be the first to be affected when our air quality falls off a cliff from having 4 power plants within 4 miles. Invisible fences do not exist around power plants. Their pollution, whether it's air or noise, it carries for miles. It does not just stay in their tiny little area. I guarantee you, people would rather have good health, clean air, clean water, than to be damaged by these industrial operations. So you can say, we got some tax money. So you really need to have some balance when considering these issues. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Next speaker is Ed Elder.
For 22 years, I was in the United States Marine Corps, and I got to use it over the din of battle sometimes. I never thought when I came to this community, I'd end up seeing the kind of spiritual battle that's going on here. And I am sick of what's going on here, not only with the data centers, but with a dirty sheriff. I call for the resignation of Sheriff Deeds. I've talked to former sheriff deputies. He needs to have a competency hearing. I found there's no way that we can get rid of him unless he resigns. But I think that we need to review his competency. And I can, unless you guys are going to do it, I'll go down and talk to some other people that will talk about his competency so we can get him the hell out of here. And I'll tell you one thing, being a Marine, I love marksmanship, accuracy of a ring-down range. But we got Mr. Wilson here, we got the sheriff, they got elected probably because they shot somebody between the eyes. I admire that. That's a damn good thing, marksmanship. As a Marine, I admire that. But these guys have turned out to be dirty, dirty politicians, and we need to get rid of them. Yeah. That's all I got to say.
Fortunately, that's the last of the opening comments, and we're back to your agenda. Do you have any more? That's all you handed me.
Was it on a? Oh, we're not there yet. This
That's
is
open mic. We're going to the agenda items. Are you speaking on a certain agenda item? Well, we're getting there. It'll be called. We're on item number 1 now, sir.
The public comment at this point is only for things that aren't on the agenda. There will be comments allowed for each agenda item as it's introduced.
Item number 1, consider and take appropriate action to approve the 2025 Hood County Jury Plan as submitted by the district clerk in accordance with the Texas Government Codes 61 and 62 draft.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Judge. We're presenting to you a 2025 Hood County jury plan. It's something that should have been done every year. The most current plan that we could find was 2008. So we are asking for you to approve this. This needs to be sent to the Secretary of State. But before I ask you to approve this, I want to give kudos to my deputy clerk, Rachel. She wholeheartedly worked on this. This was a beast of a thing to accomplish. There was new legislation that had to be included. There's new things that have happened as far as technology goes from 2008 till now. And she took this project on, and so I just want to recognize her and for her to get the credit for that.
Good. Well, congratulations. Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, Judge, I'll make the, would you scroll to the last page, please? As you can see, down, okay, right there, stop. Okay, as you can see, the district judge signed this on November the 4th, so it's approved plan by the district judge as well. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the 2025 Hood County jury plan as submitted by the district clerk in accordance with Texas Government Codes 61 and 62.
Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Eagle to approve the 2025 Hood County jury plan as submitted by the district clerk, approved by the district judge, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
All right, item number 2, discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign the legal services agreement and pay the invoice from the Martinez de la Vera law firm in the amount of $24,826.95 for legal services in the matter of Mara Holdings versus Hood County, Texas. Funds to be paid from general contingency.
Thank you, Judge.
Mrs. Samuels.
Thank you, Judge. There has been an update. Thank you. Thankful to the eagle eye of Commissioner Eagle. There was a change to the invoice, which we now have a new invoice. The amount is now $20,364. But this is, as it stated, this was in the proceeding known as Mara Holdings versus Hood County. And Mr. Mills had some outside counsel to help him with that matter. So with that, I'll make a motion. Were there any speakers on this? No. With that, I'll make a motion to authorize the county judge to sign the legal services agreement to pay the invoice from the Martinez de Vera law firm, PLLC, in the amount of $20,364 for legal services in the matter of Mara Holdings versus Hood County, Texas.
and 45 cents, and I'll second that.
A motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to authorize the county judge to sign the legal services agreement of the Martinez de Vera law firm in the amount of $20,364.25. 45, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously 5-0. Next item. Item number 3, receive update from Innovative Transportation Solutions and Hilltop Securities regarding next steps on road bonds. Yes, sir. Congratulations. I guess, Mr. Poster, it is now, what, 15 in a row, huh?
Yes, sir.
It was 13, and so you got both of these bonds passed, so you got your perfect record.
I'm old school, so I'm going to go analog.
All right, good.
Okay, John Polster, Innovative Transportation Solutions. I'm here to talk about the primarily the road bond, but it'll also include efforts to move forward with the jail bond program as well. So we're going to talk about next steps. And I apologize, I did this on two-sided, so I'm not smart enough to be able to turn them properly. As you noted, November 4th, the voters approved the Prop A, the jail at 58%, and Prop B, the roads at 61%. And we need to start the process of moving forward with the implementation of those bond programs. On the road side, we need to go meet with TxDOT again and reaffirm their projects that they want us to start with initially. We'll probably end up doing most of the on-system projects initially because the first step is the environmental clearance. And then we're going to look at the off-system and prioritize those based on the input we get from our commissioners and community. And then once we know those numbers, we'll provide that number to Hilltop Securities to talk about the impact to the tax rate on the issuance for the first issuance for the road and the issuance for the jail. And then come back to y'all and talk to you about what that impact is. And if it's under your threshold of pain, then we move forward. If it's not, then we come back and reiterate the projects, the first projects, until we get to a list of projects that we want to move forward with that matches your pain threshold on your tax rate. Once that's done, we give that information to Hilltop Securities, and I think they'll be talking about that process. They'll create a funding schedule where they'll tell you certain things you have to do by certain dates to hit your time frame. We're probably talking spring this coming year, so it doesn't impact your budget. And then concurrent with that, I've already sent your purchasing department a template for a RFQ for engineering services. It's a single RFQ with multiple projects, and we'll start working on that to make sure it comports with y'all's purchasing proclivities. Each county has their own way of doing things, so we'll adopt it to that. Concurrent with that, we will also submit a sample contract for the county's attorney to look at for procuring the services of the engineering services. Over the years, I've found that if you let the engineers do a contract, they do a contract that's better for them than for the county, and we prefer to have one that's better for the county than the engineers. So, and it's been tried and true, and a lot of these guys that work on these projects are comfortable with that format. And then again, on the jail side, if the court decides to move forward on the issuance of those funds, then the purchasing will be working with y'all to create retain services if you haven't already to start that process. Yeah, I've already talked about the contract with the civil. And so once the bonds have been issued, then ITS will work with the engineering firms to negotiate those fees because we're familiar with what those costs are. We usually bounce on the on-system ones. We bounce back and forth with TxDOT to make sure that we're consistent with our pay schedule that they use. And then we bring it back to the auditor and purchasing for review. And if they say yes, we bring it to y'all for execution. And once they're on contract, then we take over the management of those projects. So all in all, if we start, which we're going to start the backroom work on meeting with TxDOT, by spring, we should have the funds available. Concurrent with that time frame, we should be out on the street for an RFQ for engineering services for the first projects that y'all decide you want to move on. That's all I got.
I know it's general, but can you kind of restate again the quarters or the months of things what are the next steps, just so we can be prepared to?
So I'm going to let Hilltops talk about the schedule on getting to the market, because there's certain things you'll have to do, certain times. It's a funding schedule they'll provide you, and then you'll just follow that list. Concurrent, that'll take about till February, I think. February. I hope I'm not talking too much for your financial advisor. But
He's
during
up
that-
next, so he can clarify.
Yeah, correct. You can correct whatever I got wrong. During that time, that's where we're going to concurrently, I've already sent the RFQ, so it shouldn't take long for us to get the RFQ dusted up and ready for y'all to look at. We will then, once we decide what projects are the first issuance we're going to go at, we'll draft scope for those projects to insert into the RFQ so the firms that are submitting know what they're submitting on, and we'll get those approved. If they're on system, we'll get that scope approved by TxDOT. So we'll run that concurrent. So really the critical path is your financial advisor schedule on getting to the market, and he'll advise you when the best time is for your whole overall financial picture. But he'll need a number from us. And so that's what we're going to be doing now is identifying those projects. We'll then identify the amount we need for the engineering, which will then identify the dollar amount we give to Hilltop to start calculating the rate.
Okay, so that's the first step, is to identify the amount you need for engineering and then send that to Mr. Sabonis.
On the financial side, the initial step is to determine which projects everybody wants to start with. And it would be easy if we could just issue the whole 125 million. You don't have to pick which kid has to go to bed with dinner without dinner.
Yes, he said.
I'm always nervous when I have Hilltop behind me.
All right, good deal. Thank you very much.
Judge, Commissioners, citizens of Hood County, congratulations on the bond election. It's wonderful to see the confidence that the citizens have on your decisions. My name's Jim Sabonis. I'm with Hilltop Securities. I lead a team of professionals at Hilltop that provide financial advisory services to the county. And we're ongoing involved with the commissioners and the staff in a variety of ways, helping them as they deal with the debt they have issued, regulatory requirements, the rating agencies, et cetera. Before I talk about going forward, let me start by saying what you have done. Prior to having the bond election, we've gone through a couple of years of analysis. And we reviewed your financial ability. We discussed different programs, the phasing of those programs. All that was reviewed, and ultimately your court agreed to a general plan of finance that was the basis for the bond election items themselves. So we have a general plan of finance based on some hypothetical and anticipated debt issuance timing, and now it comes forward. The next step is to know what you want to fund this year. And when I say this year, on February, we make our last debt payment on our existing debt. It's about $2.6 million. We actually are levying about a 2.7 cent tax rate. And after that, we'd be out of debt. But we actually scheduled this election and did this on purpose because we knew that we'd have our balance sheet clear and the additional debt would be reduced in the impact to the county. So what I think is in the basic time frame that we want to go forward with the first phase is to manage your tax rate. We don't want to go down to zero, then go back up. That's generally not considered best tax rate management philosophy. And so between now and sometime in June, maybe as late as July, prior to setting your tax rate, we'd like to have the first phase of bonds issued. My thought on how you'd issue bonds is varied based on the two different bond election items. On the roads, it's more of a portfolio theory, in that the engineer will come up with a phase one. He'll present that to you. You look at different options. Along with that, we'll present what the financial impact to the county to fund those different options would be, and maybe what the future options, the timing would look like. Ultimately, you'll decide on one program, and we'll go forward and fund it. Because it's a portfolio issue that, let's hypothetically say we fund $30 million on phase one, and we do $30 million on phase one, and we expected phase two to be in 18 months. If construction goes slower, we would delay the issuance of phase two. If construction goes faster, we can go forward with phase two quicker. So the thought there is it's not important to get exact dollar amounts, more to consider here's what our cost is going to be and what the roads we're going to do. And my experience is, one reason we want to do phases is because it reduces the impact of the county. But the reality is that the county can't build every road that needs to be built at one time. It's not going to be happen. And there's a lot of different counterparties that you're going to work with at the state and other agencies to be involved in. So that portfolio theory works really well. On the jail, I recommend a different philosophy. The jail is a single funding, 24 million is approved for the jail. Previously, my experience with other counties when they funded the jails, we've recommended, it's been successful, to actually parallel the debt issuance for the jail with your final bid on a not-to-exceed number for construction costs. For one simple reason. We actually come down to that process where you receive the bids 2-3 weeks beforehand, and if our jail comes in at $28 million, that's exactly the cost, we'd like to come before the commission and say, that bid's $28 million, do you want to do this bid at $28 million, let's have $24 million of bonds, do we have cash that we contribute to make it happen? Decide that, or just the opposite is, you don't want to issue too much. If your not-to-exceed bid comes at $23 million, you issue $23 million. And previously, my experience has been with this where we kind of combine it, it becomes just sufficient. We fund what we need to fund, we make sure we have those resources. And so I kind of look at them as different, where the road bonds, I think, highly likely we get that done this year, and the jail and the law enforcement center improvements, they be done when you're ready to go forward. And one thing I'd say is that again, right now, there's a slight divergence between short-term and long-term rates. So we don't want to issue money if we don't need to, because we're going to lose money on interest earnings and unexpected funds. So that's my thought process. So when the engineers give us that plan, what we'll do, we'll actually, again, revisit every assumption we have on the county's debt, prepare a time frame, and present it to you at the court. Once the court accepts that, if you want some changes, we'll come back to the next commissioner's court to make those changes. And what will take place will ultimately be on the agenda. Plan of finance to move forward with a series 2026 general obligation bond election, and not to exceed amount of this for fund these purposes. If that takes place, let's say hypothetically in April, what we do go forward, and I handed out a sheet of paper to kind of talking with some items there. From you saying going forward to us actually implementing, it involves a couple of processes. And you've got the plan, you look at the markets, and what's the method of sale to get you the lowest interest costs. We talk about our bond ratings and our bond rating strategies. They're important for investors, and especially in our case, because right now, Judge, you in the county commissioners are meetings, and I've spoken to this before in many county commissioner court meetings. You're a rare county if you have a AA+ rating from Fitch, AA+ from Standard & Poor's, one notch from AAA. And in fact, when you look at those rating reports, and I've reviewed them, and I've attached copies here for your review, it's stunning when I look at them, because you rate in Fitch's report, of the 5 criteria they look at, you rate AAA in 4 of the 5, one we rate AA. And the one that we rate AA in is one that you don't control, is the state structure and how we rate revenue. We're limited by some of the legislation on how much additional revenue you can have. It works for us, but again, everything that you can control is considered AAA. When we look at S&P, they use the word very strong as their highest consideration. And again, we get very strong on all but just the ability for expenditures. And the thought that as you grow as a county, your expenditures grow in parallel. You get a AA. So we want to make sure we maintain our AA+ and make the push to AAA. Though AAA, the push to get a AAA is the hardest jump in the rating category. It means you're the very best. And the only thing that I see from my perspective that is a challenge based on my experience is that the AAA involves having an independent economy, that you don't need anyone to leave your general area. So some of my AAA issues I've seen them evolve wasn't the financial strength of decisions that took place, because there's nothing you can do as a county commissioners or staff that makes you a stronger credit than you are right now. It's just the size of your economy. Kind of, there's some predisposition, determination by the ratings. They like the bigger credits, but we're going to make that push. So we want to have our AA+ ratings. We'll work with your staff. We'll analyze our credit beforehand. We'll prepare them for the meeting with the rating agencies, and we'll go forward with that process. And then we'll sell the bonds, and at the most efficient way. It takes about 2 months. So in theory, again, if you actually have that number, in April, we present in April, my expectation is that you see a June bond sale closing in July, but with the June bond sale, you actually have what the debt service is so you can level your INS tax structure. So what I want to say is that you're well prepared to go forward with the issue. On an ongoing basis, we've been involved, Judge, with you and your commissioners on assisting, understanding your debt, positioning it to be the lowest cost possible. Continue that process going forward and just revise and really just kind of hone what has already been the plan of finance. And my expectation, we're going to have a very efficient sale. I'll tell you that the market is kind of choppy right now. It's very unusual. Fed cut, the last 3 Fed rate cuts on the short side made long-term bonds go up a little bit in cost. And so I don't know how much expectation we have of long-term rates going down with still the assumption of inflation in our marketplace, but we'll work with you on timing from that process. But again, the key is, what's the next step? Give us the number. Let us work with your staff to come up with a plan of finance. We move forward from then, and it'll be about 2 months till you have your money in the bank. Answer any questions. That's my prepared comments.
Got something else to add?
Yes. I was just going to tell you, I'll probably have a preliminary number for you all for the first issuance probably in about 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to get it to you before your next commissioner's court.
So I got a question. I want to try to walk through this a little bit. We're slated to have our debt type paid off this next couple in February, March.
Mm-hmm.
And our budget cycle will start next May, June.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do is whatever we do, if we have a bond sale in June, then we'll be factoring in the INS part of that for the 27 budget, right?
Yes, that's the plan going forward. So there's no gap where we go down to 0 and go up.
Right.
Again, in general, I think from experience with other elected bodies, they believe that's bad philosophy. You want to have consistent, manage your tax rate as we go forward.
And generally, haven't we been around a 3.5%?
Well, fortunately over the last few years, we've actually gone down. We were higher than 3.5 cents, but we're at only 2.7 cents. We've paid down your debt. You've prepaid debt using cash on hand, excess sales tax collections. And this is the lowest INS tax rate you have in 10 years, just right now.
So what is your recommendation for an INS in 23? Are we going to go back to 3? You recommend going back to 3.5 or?
Well, actually, the bond election indicates that the aggregate of the impact would be 4.6 cents. That was which is indicated in the election. And
okay.
And I would like to defer that, but I do think that we might want to transition going up in phases. 2 reasons why. The restriction in the new revenue of 3.5% you've dealt with has forced your M&O to go down. So we might, again, do some technical analysis about what you think your M&O rate's going to potentially continue to go down as you have significant growth in value. So the slight increase that's been indicated to taxpayers, which they approved, might be offset by partially or all by that reduction in M&O, if that makes sense to you.
Because if we're looking at somewhere between 3.5 and 4.6 cents, right,
Mm-hmm.
for 27, because that's going to pretty much stay that's going to be very consistent with where we've been,
Mm-hmm.
A. And B, for instance, we paid off or we're getting ready to pay off the overpass, which is really not in our debt load, but we've been paying, that $1.1 million payment on that goes next year, right? So that'll be over with. And it's not called debt right now, but it's $1.1 million in debt that we won't be paying anymore.
And that's the plan to kind of match up the new debt with the expiration of those 2 debt items.
So I guess what I'm getting to is we got a good shot, if we manage this correctly, of leaving our INS where it's consistent with where it's been. And it's going to affect the term, of course, but it's not going to affect the out-of-pocket necessarily out of the tax rate that's going to be charged to the taxpayers.
Correct. That's the plan. That's why timing's important here.
That's what I got. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good job, good job.
You know, one of my jobs is to make his job harder. So one of the things I might throw out there in the future is, as we go towards determining when we sell, is if we want to get started on the engineering sooner, I was going to talk to him about the issue of going ahead and doing the sale by making the first payment, a delayed payment till you set your budget tax rate. That they don't necessarily like doing that, but it's a way we can get started sooner.
And let me say, thank you. A thought, and again, I have to talk to Stephanie and to you commissioners, but again, in the state of Texas and in the nation, there's a process called a reimbursement resolution. It allows you to take unrestricted cash, spend current expenditures towards eligible bond costs, and then reimburse yourself at the time you actually issue debt. Very common process. Again, when you talk about issuing a large amount of debt, you know, there's a process we go through, but it's very common that there's some engineering or sometimes right-of-way acquisition, land acquisition, that you'll say on a big project, we look at your valuable excess cash that you have, which is significant because of your conservative fund balance policies, and we say, oh, in March, bring forward a document. It's a reimbursement resolution. It has two purposes. One indicates we're going to spend up to X amount of dollars from our unrestricted cash, and we intend to reimburse it when we close the bonds in June, before we actually close our books for the year, so it's an in and out transaction. Secondly, it's important because the IRS require us to do that, to state our intention to reimburse ourselves. They don't allow after the fact items because of some bad characters, what they've done previously. So very common process, and my anticipation is that working with you, that's the way we approach it. You know, it's unusual to do like a small, you know, $2 million bond issue and then come back with a $28 million, especially the resources you have available. But if you have a few $1 million, which would be expected to move forward on the project, we can do that. And because they're general obligation bond, there's no risk to the county that you can't issue the bonds. You know, we're not doing a process. We've already got the approval from the citizens, so those bond issues can be reimbursed. And in fact, my expectation is as you go through the phases of this program, it's something you might do every phase, you know, because there's always upfront engineering or some cost to take place. And that's how we see these taking place. And so my thought would be that again, we'll bring forward that at the appropriate time, discuss it with you, and bond counsel will draft it and present it to you prior to you actually spending that money.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, so we've started at 4, pulled 5. We're down to item number 6. Discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign the Christmas Parade of Lights event application, approving the use of the southwest corner of the historic courthouse parking lot for the stage setup Wednesday, November 26th at 7 a.m. until Monday, December the 1st at 7 a.m. Do I hear a motion? I make
move that we authorize the county judge to sign the Christmas Parade of Lights event application approving the use of the southwest corner of the historical courthouse parking lot for the stage setup Wednesday, November 26th at 7 a.m. until Monday, December 1st at 7 a.m.
Second.
It has been made by Commissioner Wilson to authorize the county judge to sign the Christmas tree parade and Lights events application, seconded by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
4-0, Eagles gone.
Left 4-0. All right. Item number 7, discuss and consider adoption of Twin Sisters Court into the county maintenance system. Petitioners initially made application 2017, including affidavits, and were under the impression the road had been accepted. The road does not meet current requirements to be considered for acceptance, but those conditions were implemented in 2019. So we got.
Did a pretty good job of writing that agenda item. I think that pretty well lays it out there. They, yeah, in late 2016, early 2017, they came in and brought signed affidavits and everything, and we're under the impression that the road had been accepted. And it fit all the criteria involved with that. And you'll see on this, what's on the screen up here now, these are all gravel roads that were accepted in those years around this time. And Mr. Hightower has been pretty communicative with me on this issue the whole time I've been in office, and we felt like maybe we needed to get that on there and get this thing right. So
you said about all of it.
Yeah.
I'm Sam Hightower, I live at 3890 Twin Sisters Court. When you get on it and you get off of it at my gate. So, and if you'd like to bring your wife in her car up there and drive up our road, come on, we'll mix you a drink.
Yeah.
But we did turn in the paperwork early 2017, and a few weeks later, a month later, we were told we were accepted. We went down and spoke with them on what would be done. They told us that they would do the road, everything, all the sides and everything, and gravel it, but they wouldn't pave it. And I asked why they wouldn't pave it, and said, well, they had too much to do. So I mentioned, well, if you do that, can you get it paved within 5 years? That would be, I said, maintenance on a gravel road is a lot more than a chip seal. Anyhow, Donald Lenny came in and he talked with us and he said, yeah, you could do it within 5 years. So they said they'd start it in October of 2017. Third week of October, I called and got, well, we're not doing your road. And then when Kevin took over, I was speaking with him. He came up, looked at it, and he said, we got a problem. And I said, what's that? And he said, there's no paperwork. There's no history or anything where we were ever accepted or ever turned in any paperwork or anything. Don't know where it went, but that's about all we can say is what we know from our end.
So,
add to this mess, Todd? How long is this road?
Half mile.
Half mile.
Well, he knows more than I do.
Yeah.
there was a letter by some of the residents sent to Judge Cockrum at the time saying, hey, what happened here?
I have that letter. I didn't get any copies made. I apologize if somebody wanted to see it.
Yeah, so that, there's, I think this was just a big miscommunication is, kind of where we come down on this. And what I would like to do is go ahead and make a motion that we conditionally accept this. We're going to have to get all that paperwork again and get all the affidavits for the right-of-way so that, to get the easements or whatever to be able to
Like we
take
did
that
before.
road in. Yeah. So, my motion is that we accept this road into county maintenance with the condition that we have the required right-of-way along that entire roadway.
I spoke with Mr. Tuggle about what condition the current road's in and what the cost would be to bring it up to current standards. It's about $129,000 is what yeah. So one thing I'm concerned about, and I don't know why there's no paper trail, but I'm really concerned that this is going to set a precedent for other roads in the county. So I do have that concern that this will, there's no, could I see the letter that you mentioned?
Yes, ma'am.
And I do agree with you that our standards for taking roads in, the policy that we have currently was adopted in 2019, and it requires, well, I think I sent that in the backup. Todd's got some information there. But yeah, this application and the permit and everything was requested in 2017. So this is kind of a special circumstance where it was done under a different set of rules initially. And so, yeah, I think as far as, you know, precedence goes, it would not establish a precedence because it was initiated under a different set of rules. So.
Can you email this, or can I take a picture of it, or?
You want to speak? Come on up and speak. Throw something else in here. I'm sure you're going to uncomplicate this, but go ahead.
Hi. My name is Ron Surratt, and live on 3856 Twin Sisters Court. We purchased our property in 1986 early, and we moved to the top of the hill. At that time, we were the only resident that was up at the top. And at that time, the county did send a maintainer up there a couple times a year. They would come up, and all the other roads at in Stroud Creek on the other side of the creek at that point were still unmaintained, or would say unpaved. But the county would come up and they would use a maintainer on Blue Lake Court. They would go up Topeka, and then they would also come up Twin Sisters, which is the road that we lived on. And so they did that for a number of years, and then after 4 or 5 years, that just stopped, and the maintainer didn't come. But there was a time when the county was putting a maintainer on that road. Thank you very much.
So what's happened between 2017, and you said that you've been having conversations off and on? Because my question is why did you wait 8 years to bring this to court?
He did.
Okay.
I was here once.
And I kept telling him, no, we can't take it because it's not brought up to our standard. And then through some discussion or whatever, I think Sam finally got through to me and said, hey, look at the roads that we're taking in already. I started looking and said, oh, the acceptance policy was different. A lot of the roads that were accepted in that time were gravel roads. And so, well, let's.
Okay, so that answered that question. I didn't know that you'd been having conversations since you were elected in 20.
Before I was elected, actually.
So what would the process be if this is taken in, the cost to bring it up to standards, $129,000, is that in your budget? Are you gonna stretch it out? I mean, how will this work? So just do a little at a time as far as your budget will allow, or what is your?
Backside of the creek or on the front side?
Backside.
Okay. Now, as part of the bond package, just as a reference point, as part of the bond package, there will be a connectivity come off the backside all the way to 567 loop. Now, I'm just wondering, is this something that could possibly be, incorporated when we do that? Or is this something that has to be a standalone?
No, this road is the west side, that connect.
Backside of the creek?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure.
We're the last road before you get to the tracks. If you're going down Topeka Court, you end up at the tracks, turn around and come back. Our road is up on top. We're the top hill, top of it.
Okay.
Mr. Mills, are you still back?
Just, knowing that that's part of the bond package that has been now approved, is to put that exit on the backside over to 567.
Yeah, I saw that at Kevin's office, and I think we're a little far from that.
Mr. Mills, are you back there? Yeah, would you mind stepping up to the mic, please? So my question is there something we should do legally like we did in the last court regarding the exception that we made on the elevation? Ask the property owners to sign it. So because my concern about this becoming a precedent, at
Right.
least we would have that document to say this was a one-time only exception. The court understands, the public understands that this was a one-time exception due to the communication, the lost records, whatever. Could we draw something up like that?
If you want to add it to the affidavit that you're proposing, we can do that. They certainly wouldn't mind.
Right.
They can
Right.
get
I
the
think
road.
that, yeah, and some of the residents have changed since that time, I'm sure. But
Right.
Still, the ones that were there could
but we can
sign an affidavit to
we could add
submission
that.
of this petition to begin with. So,
That's fine.
yeah.
So would you draw that up, and would we make the motion contingent on that, or do we need to table this until you have that?
I would, you can, I guess, make it a condition that they sign an affidavit as drafted by the county attorney's office. What I'd like to see is the original, so I can at least have a starting point. If you have original affidavits. Do y'all have any of the affidavits that were?
We were dealing with the county. We didn't make any copies of
Okay.
anything. Only thing we've got is the letter that Janita sent to the judge. to
Okay.
Give us a date.
All right, well, we'll just have to start from scratch, but, I mean, if you want, we could draft something and bring it back to court in 2 weeks. We can do however you want.
Waited this long, another 2 weeks isn't going to kill you. Is it?
Okay.
Do you want to revise your?
Okay.
Let's get it moving. Let's just do that and move
Right,
on.
let's do that. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's table this, move to table this for 2 weeks and get an affidavit from the county attorney that everybody can sign about the petition or whatever.
Second.
Okay, all right.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for coming up, all right?
Thank you.
Wait.
I know this is minor compared to what y'all got going on.
That's all right, though. No, it's not. All right. Tabled, okay. Item number 8, discuss and take appropriate action to accept DRG Architects fee proposal, which provides the details for a final contract and will be brought back to court for signature on this deal. We do have 2 people. Well, go ahead, Glenn. Go. All right. We got 2 speakers here. First is Scott Clayton.
Go ahead and hand these out. Good morning, honorable commissioners, Sheriff Deeds, and citizens of Hood County. Thank you for this platform to speak on agenda item 8, the DRG Architects fee proposal for what promises to be another layer of concrete and iron on our jail. As a concerned resident who loves this county, flawed as it is, shadowed by its very name, Hood, I urge you to table this today. Not reject it outright, but pause. Let transparency breathe before we bury our doubts under more mortar. First, who are these DRG architects? Their portfolio brims with prison designs across Texas, facilities in Liberty County, expansions echoing the cold efficiency of past projects. But where's the accountability? Have they ever called out subversion of policies? Like when the death in custody goes unreported for 4 years. Ruby McPeters, her name echoes here. Sealed autopsy. No notification, to the state. A case shuttered by DA Ryan Sinclair out of fear for public trust. And Hap, whose gavel slammed shut the truth. Who was he to us, if not the hand that hid the wound? As Christians, we're called to be the body of Christ. These men, these offices, are limbs that failed us. Under any law, Sharia or our own, that shivered down my spine demands we sweep under the rug no more. Build on sand? No. Unearth first. This proposal details vague cost ballooning toward that $75 million bond shadow. Ignores innovation's wonders. Why pour millions into cells when a 9-pin serial cable could link our antiquated phone systems to the lean method, local engagement and networking? Use what we have, tech for rehab, not as a weapon. Expand, not with bricks, but with fishbowls for the vulnerable, monitored spaces leading to 3-star singles, 4-star meals, showers like LaSalle Corrections model just across the street. DRG, do you collaborate on this or just blueprint cages? Hood scars run deep. Gang beatings years back, unreported violence today. Our foundation shakes. Table this. Demand DRG's full ledger, past accountability, cost breakdowns, and tech integrations. Open Ruby's case. Compel Sinclair's hand. Let hope rise. A jail not of expansion, but elevation. For the inmate, the officer, us all. In faith and fire, thank you. I yield my time.
Item 14 is.
Okay, good morning, Judge Commissioners. So this is the services fee proposal from DRG. It's basically the next step in the jail expansion. This sets the parameters for the contract that will come back for signature. It's very similar to the one that we considered last year before that election. Less, however, because the pre-election expenses didn't occur, so it is slightly less. It's within the normal range of these types of expenses, and I think Wayne is here. I may let him go ahead and answer any questions that you have on that. But the county attorney's office has also reviewed it. But basically, it just lays out the parameters for the engineering architectural contract.
I'm a little confused, and help me through this. Maybe I thought when we brought the bond issue up that was the bond issue was the first phase that they were going to take care of and help us through. And if that passed, then we would go back out and bid for the building of the jail. Did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, once the architectural and engineering is in place, then we build for the actual construction of that. And actually before that too, you also will need to decide on a construction method, which is another step in the process.
I mean, we got to do another RFQ, right?
For the construction
Yes.
itself? Yeah, it would be an RFP, because that one is based on price, where professional services are based on qualifications. The actual construction is based on price.
In other words, we've already hired the architect for this thing. Is that correct?
This is the putting that in place. We've hired them for the steps up to this point, but until the bond has passed, you don't engage them for the rest of it. It's how the steps go.
There's an option to do I'm just trying to follow on with what Commissioner Eagle is asking, I think. Is there another, this isn't the only choice. We could do an RFQ to look for a partner to engage on the next phase of architecture and design. Is that?
Well, you'd be starting from scratch if we did that, because we declared them most qualified, I think, a year or two ago, and they've been working us through the process. I mean, if we did that, we'd be going back to the very start and starting over again, which is, I don't know how long that is, a year or so. Sure, sure.
Yeah, sure. Just trying to be sure we're following the right process.
Yeah. And Commissioner, I appreciate your questions and comments. We've been through a lot. Y'all have been through a lot. I feel like I've tagged along at times and been right at the center of this at times. For the record, Wayne Gondek, DRG Architects. We did go through a selection process. We were selected as the most qualified back in early 2024. We went forward with developing some programs for the previous bond election. We brought that back, had a reduced version, and developed the plans and the budgets for the most recent bond election with y'all. With that proposal that was presented at the time to do that as really, best way to say it, as a contingent upon the passage of the bond election. I did not perceive that we were going to go back and step back and not move forward, go back through a full selection process again following the bond election, being that we have gone through that process previously. But that was the steps that we went through to get to this point today. We had, I believe, and I don't have all the documentation with me, but I believe at one point there was actually a contract that was brought to the court that was approved, and then the court decided to go a different direction with different costs. So that was never signed or actually finalized. So we've been working forward on this to this day to bring this second phase to the court, which is at this point, no, we do not have a formal contract today to go forward from this point. The court has every right and authority to say, DRG Architects, y'all can step back. We're going to go through a full qualifications process again and request qualifications from everyone and do this all over again. That is y'all's prerogative at this point. I hope that y'all don't choose to do that, obviously, because we have put a lot of time and effort in the project. Y'all have utilized our concepts in getting y'all to this point. And I don't know what other things I can say at this point to offer that to.
Well, I have some questions. I don't know what, if you're ready. Okay. So just one of them is just, let's see, there's not pages, but on your, oh yeah, on page 3, on your graph here, in your chart, towards the bottom, it says telecommunications and design is the responsibility of the owner. That's us. So I just want to just make it clear that the design for the telecommunications, any technology that's going to be part of the new structure will be the responsibility of Hood County to hire a telecommunications specialist or use somebody on staff and design that in conjunction with you, or what does that mean when it says owner there?
There are two ways to do this, is that either we utilize what the county uses countywide on your telecommunication systems, your phone system. Was our understanding that we were going to incorporate that into the project. We typically do the infrastructure to that, all the structure, cabling, all the elements that go into that. We also obviously do the secure electronics and everything, all the access control and everything, the detention type of control. We do that all in-house. But as far as specifying your actual phone system and your devices, we have at this point have left that to the county.
So telecommunications and data also includes networking.
The actual computer systems that y'all have, that we have allowed that to be the county computer system. If y'all, we can bring in another consultant, but the county already has a data system. I just
want to be clear as what's included and what's our responsibility, which is why you have this chart here.
Right.
So I just want to be clear as to what that is and ensure that, I don't know if, is Mr. Steve still over there, or did he go? Okay. So we do have our IT director who's in charge of our network and our phone system. So just want to be sure he's in the loop that this will be his responsibility to connect up with your design and how that's going to work.
And typically what we do is sit down with them and make sure that we have the rooms available for the MDFs and the IDF's room and the power for that and the cabling to go from room to room. But the actual equipment that the computers that you're buying, and because most of the time counties don't put that in the bond issue or the bond monies because you're still paying on that for 20 years. And when the equipment is obsolete in 5. So most of the time that's a separate package that's on your regular budgetary, your replacement. So as far as your phone systems and your actual computer networking systems, that the actual devices, your servers, things of that nature, that's a county responsibility or the owner responsibility. But as far as all the structured cabling, putting that all together, making sure that all the cabling is in there, we do take care of that part.
Okay. Thank you for that. And then on the next page towards the end of your chart, where it talks about the 4.1.1.28 furniture, furnishing, and equipment design. So that doesn't include the furniture, the physical furniture. That's just the design of where it would be placed. That's confusing.
I want to make sure that we had, that y'all didn't question any of the detention furniture. All that is in there. This is more of a question when we have an office or law enforcement center that is a component of this. We don't have really an administrative offices with this. We don't have a large furniture design or layout. We have that capability. We do furniture layouts and designs, but I wanted to make sure I thought I was clarifying that we are providing all the fixed detention equipment going into the
jail, even though we're not providing furniture layouts or for office areas. I mean, we do have a few minor offices. We have some control rooms. If there is furniture for that, we can assist in that. But
Well, that's what the confusing part, because the left side says it's design, but I think you're trying to say on the right-hand side that the furniture is provided, or is it the design of the furniture?
the design of the furniture is included in the project.
But not the physical furniture?
The physical furniture will be provided by the contractor.
Okay. Okay.
But it's included in the project. It's not going to be a bought-out item.
Okay, so it's just the design of where the furniture will go, and then the purchasing of it is a later.
In most projects, your furniture, office furniture, is purchased separately. You work with usually it's a buy board contractor that you would go and figure out.
Okay, but it says detention furniture included in basic services. So is that detention furniture design or
Yes,
detention furniture physical?
Detention furniture design.
Okay. Then the next one,
Administrative furniture would be
separate.
separate.
Okay.
If we had that in the we don't have that in the project.
Okay. Security electronics and basic services. What does that mean?
The security electronics, that we are providing the design for the security electronics.
Okay, just the design. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then on the bottom half of that page where it talks about reimbursable expenses, so I understand all the beginning of the report where you're, you have the different sections of the civil engineering, geotechnical engineering, all of that, where you have your additional percentage on there for your services and the oversight of those services. What I don't understand is on reimbursable expenses, where it's travel and lodging. Why would there need to be an additional 10% added to that if you're getting reimbursed the entire amount of your lodging and your?
It's an accounting cost just for our management of putting together. It's an administrative fee. If you want me to include that or take that out and put that into just our basic cost of doing business, I can do that, Commissioner. But typically, we do that as, I don't get that out of my fee because either I incorporate all the reimbursables as a lump sum fee, or I do it just as a cost plus whatever it takes. 'Cause that's about what it costs me to keep track of that and make sure that I can bill that and get that money back. So that's what it costs. That's that cost of doing business there. So either I put that in as a lump sum in the fee, or I do it as a reimbursable cost.
Okay, and the same with, you're asking for the county to reimburse 100% on your insurance. So then why do we need to, workers' compensation, insurance levels in addition to these normal carried by the firm, general liability, workers' compensation, professional liability, and that'll, besides the cost of the insurance, we'll be paying an additional 10%, even though we're paying your full amount of your insurance?
If you ask us for any specific insurance over those levels that we customarily provide. Right now, you haven't asked us to do any of that. So that's just a standard clause that we have in there. But right now, you haven't asked us to provide any level of insurance. There are some projects, we're doing a $115 million project right now in West Texas that they wanted to have an additional $2 million worth of E&O insurance on that. They paid for that directly for that additional E&O insurance. We haven't been asked to pay or to provide any additional project-specific insurance. So unless y'all ask us to do that, then there is no additional cost on that.
Yeah, it's just it's not that we're asking you for the insurance or not. It's the fundamental question of, you're already getting reimbursed 100% for your expense, so why do you need to add another 10% onto that?
The 10% was intended to be for our accounting for when we bill to you. We have to keep records of that.
Mm-hmm.
So as we do it, we have to ask our employees to do their documentation and turn that in. We have to make sure that we put that together and then provide that billing to your department. So either I put it into a fee amount or some of the place that, as a business person, I've got to account for that work that it takes me to do that. This is a simple way that we've been doing it for a long time, this way, that, when we bill for a $200 for mileage to and from a project, that 10% on there is applied for taking the time that somebody actually put together the paperwork to bill for that amount. If you want me to take it off, I'll take it off.
Maybe I'm the only one that has a question about it. I don't know.
When we're talking about the amount of fee that we're talking about here, Commissioner, that to me, I can have that. I can take care of that. That to me, I can see where that looks like it's trivial or that's.
It doesn't look trivial to me. It looks like we're overpaying because we're already reimbursing you 100%, and now you're asking us to reimburse you 110% for what your expense was.
No,
So
what I was doing was asking you to pay me or to reimburse me 100%, plus pay me for the time that it takes to bill you, which is I'm asking you to pay me for my cost of business. Cost of doing business.
isn't that already included in your profit margin?
Well, it really isn't. That's what I'm saying, is that I can either do it over here in the fee, or I can do it as
well.
Many times I just roll the reimbursable as part of it. Some counties want us to do the reimbursement as an actual.
Mm-hmm.
Some want us to say, estimate it, put it in here, and give me a lump sum.
So basically what happens here is if we come in and say, hey, we want you to have an additional $2 million liability on this thing, you've got to go shop for that, figure out where to get it, send the paperwork, send a check, and that's reimburse or it's payment for your time working on that.
That's what I'm asking for.
Okay, gotcha.
That's for their insurance, but there's also travel and lodging. So it's going to cost an extra 10% for them to take the receipt from the hotel and send it to us for a reimbursement.
I think in the construction world, that's pretty standard. I don't think it's way out of line. I mean, just cost plus 10% of it. I think that's pretty typical. So.
Well,
And
it sounds like I'm the only one.
We have other county contracts that they do not want us to do reimbursable because they do not want that to be in the auditor's office having to do additional accounting on that. They want that reimbursement, all the travel and all the other expenses to all be lump sum.
No, I definitely.
We roll that back in, so
yeah, I definitely
we do it
like
both
that
ways.
Yeah, I definitely like that these things are itemized out. I think that's good for transparency. And if I'm the only one that has a problem with 10%, then add it on, then I'll defer to the rest of the court. So,
like I say, commissioners, I don't want any hesitancy on y'all's part that I'm.
We'll take it out then.
Huh?
If you said you'll take it out, then take out the 10%.
I'll do that on the reimbursable expenses.
I don't think that's quite fair. I mean, it's the cost of doing business. That's the way they do it in the construction world.
Administrative costs
Yeah. That's right. That's not fair. I'm opposed to that. I'm
We have
opposed.
to, withstand an audit also, so it's, that's just normal cost of business. Okay. At this point, I make a motion that we accept the DRG architect's fee proposal as provided. The details of the final contract will be brought back to court for signature.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson to accept the DRG architectural fee proposal, which will be brought back to court for final signature. Second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
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 Motion carries 3-2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. You almost were a fixture of this court several months ago on the thing. Good luck to you. Let's get her moving. Item number 9, consider approving the request from the Environmental Health to close their office on Friday, December the 26th, 2025. All employees will be required to use vacation time. Jeannie Stacks, come on up here and tell us about it.
Commissioners, I think it's self-explanatory. The 26th, that week, we're not going to have that many items anyway. Everybody will be enjoying their family time. We had a discussion. They asked if I would bring this to court to see if y'all would agree to allow us to close the office that day. I'll be available if anybody needs me. If I have any emergency that's close to the lake, I'll call the Brazos River Authority and they'll handle it. Other than that, I'd come handle it myself.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for you to close your office Friday, December 26, 2025, all employees using their vacation time.
Second.
3 people seconded. Okay. Second. All right. Motion made by Commissioner Eagle to allow Environmental Health to close their office on Friday, December 26, 2025. Second by everybody else. One thing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. Item number 10, discuss and take appropriate action to authorize the county judge to sign a memorandum of understanding with Somerville County establishing a backup alerting authority that can issue alerts, warnings, and notifications for one another during emergencies. Miss Margaret Campbell. Yes, ma'am. That recently happened, didn't it?
It did. So we have an interlocal with Somerville County because of the nuclear power plant to sound outdoor warning sirens for one another. And we practice that during our biannual exercises. Nowadays, we're moving to IPAWS, and IPAWS is becoming more prevalent across the country. It's integrated public alert and warning system. It's a phone-based alert. And what we have recently found is that we cannot sound alerts for Somerville County, and they cannot sound them for us if one of our systems went down. And just a couple weeks ago, the system that Somerville County uses went down nationwide, and we realized we couldn't sound for them if something had happened. So all we're trying to do is get an MOU in place. That way we can sound for one another, and then if both of us can't alert, the state would sound the alert or set off the alert for us.
Good. It's a good idea, and they work well with us. All right, I hear a motion.
Yes, I move that we authorize the county judge to sign a memorandum of understanding with Somerville County establishing a backup alerting authority that can issue alerts, warnings, and notifications for one another during emergencies.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson to authorize the county judge to sign a memorandum of understanding with Somerville County regarding the alerting system. Second by Commissioner Samuelson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, 11:15, let's take a 5-minute break. 6-minute break.
No, no break.
in Commissioners Court. We're on item number 11. Receive report from Avistas Business Engineering LLC after conducting a review and assessment of Hood County's current radio network, including but not limited to a review of engineering, technical, operations, management, and financial components of Hood County's current radio network under P25 standards for federally funded radio systems. Discuss and take appropriate action if necessary. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners, citizens of Hood County. My name is Bill Morgan. I'm CEO, founder, and consulting principal for Avistas, and been delighted to report our findings to you today. You guys have a P25 digital radio system that you've wrestled with for a number of years. As the county's grown, so have your requirements for your radio services. Things are getting more complicated and integrated. It looks like you've had a very good relationship with some folks at the city for a number of years until there was maybe some recent changes in personnel and changes maybe in relationships and mindsets. We had an opportunity to, if you go to just the first slide on our mandate was to perform what we call a SNAP assessment. It's a very quick sort of a dive into your people, process, and technologies related to the support of your P25 communication systems all throughout Hood County, and as it interconnects to some of your neighbors that rely on this mission critical infrastructure that we believe is in a level of maturity that there are standards out there, industry standards that rate maturity of operations, and they score them on indexes from pick a number system from 0 to 5, 1 to 10, whatever. But if you looked at the maturity of your radio communications and in fact your mission critical systems operations versus just a narrow view on the technology, then you got, you could look at maturity from a human perspective, an infant, an adolescent, a teenager, an adult, or a professional, and you're somewhere in that sort of adolescent phase as it relates to your ability to manage what you need to manage for a mission critical system. And it's not anybody's fault per se. It's that you've got a relationship with an interlocal agreement that acts as if it's a managed service provider to Hood County. In reality, it's what would otherwise be called in industry speak, infrastructure as a service. You're basically accessing infrastructure provided by others, but you're expecting to be a managed service, not unlike outsourced contracts in all kinds of areas, but there's not much management to the managed service. And in fact, what's happened is, in order for you to manage, you don't manage what you don't monitor. And in this case, in your interagency agreements, you're not allowed to monitor. You're relying on third parties to be proactive on your behalf, but in reality, that's not happening proactively. And therefore, this findings is that we see sort of a crawl, walk, run path forward for Hood County. The crawl is you're crawling along with this system, the GRRN. We think it's actually a good system. We think it's great for the city of Granbury. However, the way this system is architected and designed for Hood County, a broader community of interest, it's insufficient for you to proactively manage this infrastructure. It's contracted by the city to an outsourced third party, L3 Harris. They're doing a great job to meet the city's needs, and they've got it resilient for what the city needs. It's lacking your ability to manage it for the 23 agencies relying on it throughout Hood County. And so we recommend that the county understands that this system is not something that fits in a department. It's not an IT system. It's not something that fits in a facilities department, although it requires elements of a lot of different departments and agencies throughout Hood County. And therefore, if you want to move to the next one, we recommend that an advisory board be set up, a proper advisory board. I don't know the nuances of the legal ramifications of all your committees and commissions, but at least at the bare minimum, an advisory board of stakeholders that can provide key operational information into what this mission critical system should support. And by mission critical, I want to clarify that any life safety system is deemed to be mission critical, meaning it cannot go down under any circumstances. And as you guys have wrestled with over the last 6 months or so, you've had outages. You've had outages due to air conditioning systems that were beyond your control. And worse, you weren't even allowed to look at alarms and alerts to predict or anticipate that when something trends towards that, hey, things are heating up. You're blinded because somebody's got a contract somewhere with yet another third party that y'all have no legal interface with. You're allowed to see what you're allowed to see under contract, but most of what you need to do and see is silent in the contracts. In other words, you've got a nominal agreement that does not allow you to position yourselves to manage and monitor proactively the mission critical elements that you need to manage for the 23 agencies in this county that rely on that life safety system. And so our recommendation is to go ahead and stand up an advisory board for this mission critical infrastructure. I would even go so far to suggest that you might consider not even referring it to a radio system. That just happens to be a component. But what I've heard today, there are other systems that could tie into this infrastructure, the alarm notifications and other things. As we move forward in time, your threats to life safety in this county get more interesting, more encumbered. It requires more technologies, but it doesn't sit in a data center somewhere. It doesn't sit in an IT network somewhere. It's a convergence of a lot of things coming together. And therefore, key stakeholders should have a key voice in how this stuff gets defined so that you can prepare a proper set of requirements for what you need to maintain a mission critical system 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, regardless of who's on vacation and who's coming and going, who's elected, who's not elected. This infrastructure needs to be sustainable over the next 50, 60 plus years from an operational mindset point of view. The technology is going to change on a regular basis. And so it needs to exist independent of what widgets you plug and play with. It needs to be interoperable, standards compliant. So we've suggested things to look at to consider specifying it as an operations plan for the county, and then determine whether you need to renegotiate agreements or maybe overlay your own assets into what you're doing today.
Anybody have any questions?
Well, in reviewing the document, the things that stand out specifically, and one of the things that stands out in my mind is on page 23. And, you know, either we, the county, renegotiate the existing interlocal agreement, or we overlay an independent core system of our own.
Yes, sir.
And I think that right there is the crust of, you know, the whole document is that position. Either we get to where we have, you know, some access to where we need, we the county need access, or we have to go and create our own core at this point.
And access to those assets, the agility to come and go as you please, whenever you please. Without permission.
Yeah.
This is your county.
Without the 3 day, you know.
Exactly.
Or whatever the, you know, the time frames are.
You must have control of these things yourselves.
And especially since we, the county, have the bulk of the radios in the system as total.
And you've got to look at your Achilles heels, your vulnerabilities, your single points of failure. It may or may not have anything to do with the radios, but it may have something to do with the cores, or the redundancy in your heating systems or air conditioning systems or your diesel generators or whatever the case may be. All these assets that have to come together and work as a unified system need to be what we call in the tech space highly available, highly availably architected. So you've got failovers and redundancies. And guess what? You don't need a big team of people to do this. You know, I'm not up here suggesting you got to hire an army or anything. You've got good people that under the right managed service contracts with third parties, you know, keep the burden on the third parties to meet your operations plan and performance requirements. And you've got some competent people that know, you know, what things should be done from an emergency point of view. You got great firemen, police officers, sheriff's department, et cetera. You just need the infrastructure and the tools to do it with the flexibility to manage and upgrade and refine the people, the process, and technologies as new threats emerge. The new threats, by the way, include things like drones and all the shady things that can go on with drone technology that could interrupt your services. And so there's things to look at that belong in a layer or a tier of mission critical system that I think should be managed by an advisory board.
So so I've been in contact with Judge Huckabee, ERAF, and also speaking with the judge down in Johnson County, the county judge down in Somerville, and some of the commissioners. And you talk about this Emergency Development Management Advisory Board, and they're all looking towards what we're doing over here. A lot of those folks that I've been speaking with, would you envision that we would have like some of them on here and working together, or just local?
I would envision that you take care of yourselves first and get a infrastructure in place that you can monitor, manage, maintain, and scale. And as you can bring on additional third parties in other counties, absolutely bring them on board and give them a say. But from an operations maturity, believe it or not, you guys may be way ahead of them. And you may be able to share best practices in Hood County that can scale into their counties. But absolutely, the membership of this committee is for all the stakeholders that are going to be relying on this infrastructure, this architecture for mission critical operations. Yes, sir.
So so based on at least this phase or this part of your analysis, and by the way, I appreciate, just want to throw a commercial in here for you. I do appreciate the speed with which you got to work on this. And, you know, I think what we met there like in September, the first time we met, and you're bringing us, you know, at least an initial finished product, which I very much appreciate. But it sounds to me like we need to get started on the management advisory board and try to put something together pretty quick and get moving.
Yes, sir. I mean, at the end of the day, what's at stake is life safety issues. I mean, how important is that?
Right.
So, are you?
Go ahead.
So first, thank you for pronouncing the name of your company, because I think we've all been pronouncing it several different ways, but not Avisis.
Avisis is simply to view or discern from afar.
Okay.
Separating the forest from the trees.
Okay. So on your work steps page, there's step 5 is to explore a buy versus build. And there's a lot of work to do. I don't know if is it in your presentation here, or is it just in the document?
It's in the document. It's not in the presentation.
Okay. So what we have, and this is available if anyone wants to go to the agenda and pull down the full report, but it's the next steps work plan, and it's got several columns of the work stream, the purpose, the key activities, and the deliverables. But step 5 is explore, purchase, GRRN, and overlaying the P25 operational plan, or to start building our own. But there's a lot of work before that.
Yes, ma'am. There sure is.
So I don't think we're close to making a decision. It looks like we have a lot of work to lay the foundation, stand up an advisory board, create our P22 strategy document, all the things that you've mentioned in here. That's some work there.
There's some work, yes, ma'am. And it's, I don't think you want to rush into that buy versus build discussion right now without taking a full comprehensive inventory of the assets you have.
Right.
Looking at the life cycle of those assets. Are they end of life? Are they on the front end?
Mm-hmm.
All these kind of things, because when somebody comes to this commissioner's court to suggest a budget, you need to make sure that's comprehensive and it can be sustainable for a minute.
Right. So that the first step in the work plan is digitally account for all physical, logical, and virtual elements supporting P25 communications for Hood County today. So, and then there's a whole list of steps to do that. So
yes,
just that one work stream there is a lot for us to do.
It's just a matter of getting organized.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know you mentioned, and thank you again for the speed at which you did this, and the compliments to the current staff. But my concern is that, as you've heard today, we have this will be the third of major projects that we are just getting ready to undertake. We have our road project that we're undertaking, the jail construction, and now laying a foundation for a radio system for Hood County. So my concern is the bandwidth of the employees that are involved. Yes, they're great employees, but do they have the bandwidth to cover all of the things that we are asking for? And this particular one that really needs to take a deep dive into what we have, where we need to go, laying out strategy and procedures and documentation. So that's my concern.
I think your staff has to continue doing the job they're doing and rely on this commissioner's court to empower them to bring in subject matter experts that can do a lot of the heavy lifting on your behalf, and then review it with the court, review it with the stakeholders, and help the advisory board come together and understand this is not about having the latest and greatest iPhone. It's about sustainable infrastructure to make sure that when you push to talk, you can talk all over this county.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the city is somebody that said that the reason they don't want the county come in and check various things is security, somebody being able to play. How would you suggest, in it's going to take years, even to build our own fort, we have to build
Yeah.
it. What would you suggest is how, what we can explain to the city, or how could you explain to the city for us, maybe, that we haven't been able to do, that we need more access into, if something goes wrong with the system, like what happened in Somerville or what happened at the cemetery tower?
So we design mission critical systems all over the world. We build operation teams, and we define the roles and responsibilities of the actors in the play, so to speak. And security and cybersecurity is a large part of what we do. And the answer to that question could be as simple as, if everybody got along well, change your policy, empower the county to do the county's job. But right now, you've got a little bit of a tug of war going on, because I paid for my toys, I paid for my asset, I'm going to follow my security policy. And you know what? I don't blame them. There's nothing that they're doing that's not incorrect. From the point of view of risk management, and the primary responsibility is to protect the interest of the city and all those city agencies depending on that infrastructure. And it's a good infrastructure for what they're doing, and it's meeting the needs of what they said they're going to do according to their policies. It's just woefully inadequate for this county.
So in the meantime, I'm kind of tagging on to that, is it's going to be a while before we have something else, or we negotiate. So
you can anticipate a governing body might hide behind a policy of a key vendor. It just takes collaboration to change those policies, put some controls in place to make sure that you guys get what you need in the meantime. If you need help, we can maybe offer some suggestions on that. But if everybody wants to play nice together, they play nice, right? This doesn't have to be go out and build all your own stuff right away, although I believe long-term that you're better off owning and controlling your own infrastructure. But tactically, whether you like it or not, you're looking at 18 to 24 months plus in this environment you're in. The very least you can do is let's update some policies to give you guys visibility. And you're not asking for change control level access. You're just asking for simple visibility into what's going on. You want to see the same things they see when they see it. So by the time you get a call from them, you already...
on a line to ask for to see the same things?
They're gonna, we've had very specific discussions with the city of Granbury, and they have a very specific policy that says, thou shalt not get access to this information. You got to go through us, the city. And the city, that's per the contract that they have with their key vendor. And so it's a function of, they may need to make an amendment to their vendor contract before they can allow an authorized Hood County representative to gain access to visibility that you did have before you hopped on that network. And therefore, you're flying blind. And essentially in the report, when you have an active event, let's say an outage, the key vendor tries to triage the outage, they'll escalate to the city, they'll try to triage things, and then they'll escalate to you on a best efforts basis, which is silent in the contract, but that's essentially what it is. The only service level agreement you have in that contract is they have up to 3 days to register a radio that takes 30 seconds. But you may or may not get that done in 3 days, but you've got no say and no visibility in any other service level agreement or any other performance spec in that contract. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm just saying that's what it is. And so it's going to require some artful and diplomatic negotiations. But before you can even approach the table with that, other than maybe security access control privileges, figure out what you want and need through a governance body and an advisory board of some sort for your mission critical infrastructure.
I don't know if you watched, it looks like you watched some of the prior Commissioners Court meetings, but
I've read meeting minutes, but
yeah.
I'm sure they got animated in live.
Yeah, that was one of the requests, was to create a governance board where each stakeholder had an equal voice in what we have in the current agreement is that there's a commitment to have monthly meetings with minutes. And so that's not quite what we asked for, but it was a step in the right direction.
It's, I can understand some people taking a perspective of it's outside of my department. I want to protect what's in my department, but we're dealing with life safety issues that don't care about what department is running what. They want these services available when they need them. When seconds count, these systems need to be up and available and running regardless of what department there is. And therefore, it's my opinion, my professional opinion, that yes, you do need an advisory board as the key stakeholder driving this.
That was just an update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Did a good job. Okay, next item. 13, discuss and take appropriate action to allow for additional costs in the amount of $1,700 to be paid for the maintenance of AgriLife Extension's 2021 Chevrolet Traverse and 2017 Chevy Silverado out of Fund 55. Yes, Miss Hannah, how are you doing?
Hello. Good morning. I think still morning, maybe for a little bit.
11 more minutes.
Just barely. Yes. So we have had to do some maintenance on both vehicles. We do have a vehicle maintenance line item in our budget, which is almost always sufficient, except for in years like now when things kind of go haywire. So the Traverse had an issue with the shifter mechanism. It wasn't going into park. And then the truck needed new tires, the sensors fixed and an alignment and all of that. So in that case, we have kind of blown through our $800 yearly budget and are here to kindly ask for a little bit more so we can cover it.
Want you to be safe.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I move that we authorize the additional amount of $1,700 be paid for the maintenance of AgriLife's Extension 2021 Chevy Traverse and the 2017 Chevy Silverado out of Fund 55.
Make it continue. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay with that, Jack?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Wilson to pay an additional amount of $1,700 to be paid out of contingency for AgriLife's 2021 Chevrolet Traverse and 2017 Chevy Silverado, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. You're unanimous.
Perfect.
See,
Thank you so much.
have a good turkey day, okay? All right. Okay, item 14, discuss and take appropriate action to allow the county judge to sign an interlocal agreement with Texas EMS. We do have one speaker, I guess, on this. It's Tyler Scott, but it's got 14 up here at the top, Christine, but then he's got item 4 under development, so I don't know what he's doing. Is Tyler Scott here?
I think he was looking for the
Development Board. Yeah.
I don't think
Anyway, okay. Well, that's, Mr. Ricky Reeves, you want something to say about this? You ready to sign that interlocal agreement?
Yes, sir.
Don't it get $450,000? I'd sign something. Give it to me, I'll sign it.
No, I agree. I met with the auditor. We agree it's a way to protect the county and us both.
Okay.
Even though we have a contract with the county and it has a stipulation about this, it doesn't get specifics in the dollar amount, and that's what she was looking for protection.
Okay.
And same thing what they do with the volunteer fire departments.
So
Make a motion to allow the county judge to sign the interlocal agreement with Texas CMS.
Second.
motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to allow the county judge to sign an interlocal agreement with Texas CMS, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Thank you.
You're in good business. Okay? Motion carries. This brings us to the consent agenda. Does any commissioner wish to pull or discuss anything? If not, do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as stated.
Second.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Wilson, and we approve the consent agenda as stated, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Now we get down to road ops. Mr. Todd Tuggle. Public hearing to consider approval of the following traffic regulations. So at 7 minutes to 12, we're going to adjourn into a public hearing. Yes, sir. What do you have for us?
Judge, Commissioners, these are three items in the public hearing that are placement of regulatory signs. The first is placement of no parking signs on Silverton Drive. This will be in Acton, Maine, Precinct 3. This is section road that was actually closed back in 23 for a pedestrian crosswalk. Road Ops has had several calls, as well as Commissioner Wilson, that people are parking on each side of this crosswalk. It was built to that the ballards can be removed to get emergency vehicles in if need be, and with people parked there, well, it's a little hard to do that. So the second one actually is a placement of no truck signs on Riverview Trail as well as River Country Lane. Both of these roads are off Hayworth Highway in Precinct 2. Road Ops has had several calls about heavy trucks going down this road, as well as Commissioner Samuelson as well. These Road Ops is, we set up a traffic counter for 24 hours and calculated, got the trucks, and there is a lot of trucks that go down this road that have another way that they can get to where they need to go. So with that being said, and these roads are in a residential type neighborhood. They're pretty narrow and wasn't built for that kind of heavy traffic. So Road Ops recommends that these three items be considered by the court for approval.
Member of the public out here wish to make any comment or address any one or all of these three? None? So at 5 minutes to 12, we're adjourning back into Commissioner's Court. And do I hear a motion?
Judge, I'll move to approve the following traffic regulations and have the signs placed. No parking sign in the section of Silverton Drive between Main Street and White Horse Drive in Precinct 3, and establish no truck sign on Riverview Trail in Precinct 2, and a no truck sign on River Country Lane in Precinct 2.
On all three, okay. So motion
yes.
motion been made by Commissioner Samuelson to establish no parking on Silverton Drive and Main Street, no trucks on River Trail, no trucks on River Country, all second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Tuggle. And now Mr. Clint Head. Set a public hearing for the replat of Orchard 15B. What date?
January 13th, 2026.
January 13th, 2026. Holy smoke. Okay. Jesus. All right, item B, discuss and consider approving the corrected plat of Hernandez addition to be recorded, Precinct 1.
Judge, Commissioners, this corrected plat of Hernandez Addition was approved on August 26th and was recorded. United Cooperative Services decided they needed larger electric easements, which are larger than what we can require as the county, so the applicant requested adding them to the plat and getting it re-recorded as a corrected final plat. Just need court to approve record.
Is there a motion? A motion been made by Commissioner Andrews to approve the corrected plot of Hernandez Addition, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Item C, public hearing to discuss and consider replat of Sunrise Bay. So at 3 minutes to 12, we're adjourning into a public hearing. Yes, sir, Mr. Head.
This replat is a subdividing of Block G into lots 1 and 2. Lot 1 will be a 1 acre lot, and Lot 2 will be a 4.67 acre lot. The property is located in the Water Quality District in Precinct 4 and will be served by Texas Water Utilities and on-site sewage facilities. These lots will access existing Sunrise Bay Court.
Anybody here in the public wish to make a statement of any kind? If not, at 3 minutes to 12, we're convening back into Commissioner's Court. Yes, sir.
All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval as presented.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll move that we approve the replat of Sunrise Bay lots 1 and 2, Block G.
Motion been made by Commissioner Eagle that we approve the replat of Sunrise lots 1 and 2, and second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. D, public hearing to discuss and consider replat of Nassau Bay. So at 2 minutes to 12, we're adjourning to a public hearing. Yes, sir.
This replat is a combining of Lot 8 and a portion of Lot 9 of Nassau Bay 1. This property is also located in the Water Quality District in Precinct 3 and will be served by AMUD Water and AMUD Sewer. The lots access existing Carla Court.
Okay, anybody here in the public here wish to say anything about Nassau Bay? If not, at 2 minutes to 12, we're convening back into Commissioner's Court. Yes, sir.
All comments have been addressed. Staff recommends approval as presented.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the replat of Nassau Bay 1, Lot 8R, Block 1.
Motion been made by Commissioner Wilson to consider the replat of Nassau Bay, Lot 1, Lot 8R, second by Commissioner Eagle. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimous. E, discuss and consider approving the interlocal agreement by and between Hood County and Parker County for the development of 101.855 acre development known as Timberview Phase 2. Yes, sir.
This request was presented to Commissioner Precinct 1, Development Environmental Health requested changes that were made. We have had this type of interlocal before. These lots have access through Parker County only. Hood County would still be responsible for any sewer, any future replats, and County Attorney's Office has reviewed this interlocal, and you got anything else to say about it?
Top highway into the subdivision in Parker County, and the back end of this subdivision is in Hood County. So that's the interlocal, is to provide for who dictates what there.
Any future replats or sewer permits still are governed by Hood County.
Access to the properties that are in Hood County are from Parker County?
Yes.
I hear a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the interlocal agreement by and between Hood County and Parker County for the development of 101.855 acres known as Timberview Phase 2.
By Commissioner Andrews to approve the interlocal agreement between Hood County and Parker County regarding Timberview, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Before you leave, Clint, I didn't make a motion on the public hearing. Yeah, so on A3, 2A.
I thought we had motion made by you and then Jack. I thought Jack seconded it.
Not on that one. So I'll move to set the public hearing for the replat of the Orchards 15B Lot 361.
Did, January 13, 2026.
Said it, but we didn't make the motion.
Oh,
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right.
Second. Jack, okay.
Financial, the illustrious Stephanie Matlock.
Well, hello. All right, so consider certification of payment of invoices for the period October 31st, 2025 through November 14th, 2025. Discuss vendor payment over $10,000 and take appropriate action. Expenditures for November 25th, 2025 Commissioners Court. Old budget, $33,009.36. New budget, $1,397,723.64.
That changed based on the invoice, or is that going to be on the next court?
Yes, that invoice for,
Martinez?
yes, that was not in this court.
Okay.
The court had to approve it, and then we'll queue it up to be paid next court with the proper approvals from that.
And you did see where we're
Oh.
collecting money for the employees' luncheon here.
So we're collecting donations for the Employee Appreciation Holiday Lunch. If anyone would like to contribute, it's going to be donation only.
Well, you've
Back-
seen that, and I've got my receipt for $150, so I want all the commissioners up here to contribute their $150.
I believe they will.
All
It's
right.
going to be
Well,
a fun.
I have to put this on the record that I tried to contribute with Commissioner Andrews, and he didn't have his receipt book with him.
Giving everybody a receipt, Doug, on it. It's-
So
He seems to have it with him today.
he's
so-
got it with him today, so I'm going to contribute $200.
All right. Awesome. And we'll see y'all there, right? You're going to join us? It will be so fun.
Good,
The auditor's office has reviewed all invoices and recommends payment.
good. Thank you.
Move to approve the payments for period of October 31st, 2025 through November 14th, 2025.
Second.
Emerson to pay the invoices as stated by Stephanie Matlock, second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All righty, that's it. And at 5 minutes after noon, we are adjourned.